The Jabo community in Sokoto State has become the center of a rather alarming situation that has security experts and local authorities deeply concerned this December. What began as a military operation has now turned into something entirely different, something that authorities are describing as potentially catastrophic if residents do not heed their warnings. On a seemingly ordinary day in this quiet Nigerian community, the skies above Jabo erupted with the thunder of what residents initially could not comprehend. It was a United States military airstrike, part of ongoing counter-terrorism operations in the region targeting suspected terrorist positions. The explosion shattered the morning calm, sending shockwaves through homes and scattering debris across a wide radius. But what happened after the dust settled is what has everyone talking and what has authorities scrambling to contain a dangerous situation. Instead of staying away from the blast site, as one might expect, residents of Jabo did something that has left security personnel stunned. They rushed to the scene and began collecting pieces of the bomb debris, metallic fragments, unexploded materials, and various components from the airstrike. Now, you would think people would be cautious around such dangerous materials, but the reality on ground tells a completely different story. These residents have been picking up these potentially lethal items, taking them home, and here is where it gets even more concerning. Some enterprising individuals have actually begun trying to sell these metallic parts. Yes, you heard that correctly. Fragments from military-grade explosives are being treated like scrap metal that can be sold for profit. The desperation in the voices of local authorities is palpable, as they have taken to every available platform, begging, pleading with residents to return these materials immediately. The danger here cannot be overstated. These are not ordinary pieces of metal. These are components from military explosives, and many could still be live, meaning they could detonate at any moment with the slightest disturbance. Security experts have warned that some of these fragments might contain unexploded ordnance, which means anyone handling them is essentially holding a live bomb in their hands. The heat from welding equipment, which scrap metal dealers commonly use, could trigger an explosion. Even the simple act of moving these items roughly could set them off. According to reports emerging from the community, the airstrike caused significant disruption beyond just the immediate blast. Residents have recounted stories of injuries sustained during the strike, not necessarily from direct hits, but from the shock waves and flying debris. There are also troubling accounts of missing livestock, animals that either fled in terror during the explosions or were killed in the strike itself. For a community where livestock represents not just food but economic livelihood, these losses compound an already difficult situation. The destruction of property, the psychological trauma of experiencing such an intense military operation, and now this dangerous aftermath with residents handling explosive materials, it paints a picture of a community in crisis. What makes this situation particularly frustrating for authorities is the apparent disconnect between the severity of the danger and how residents are perceiving these materials. To someone unfamiliar with military hardware, a piece of shiny metal might just look like valuable scrap that could be sold to help make ends meet. In communities where economic hardship is real and every opportunity to earn money matters, the temptation to capitalize on what seems like free material is understandable from a purely human perspective. But this is where education and awareness become critical. These are not harmless scraps, they are potential death traps. Security personnel have been deployed to the area to try and recover as many of these dangerous items as possible, but it is like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. The materials have already been dispersed throughout the community and possibly beyond. If you are finding this report informative and you want to stay updated on critical news that affects communities across Nigeria, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss important updates like this one. Your subscription helps us bring you more in-depth coverage of stories that matter. The broader context of this incident speaks to larger issues facing northern Nigeria. The presence of United States military operations in the region is tied to ongoing counter-terrorism efforts, particularly against groups like Boko Haram and its offshoots that have plagued the northeast for years. These airstrikes, while aimed at neutralizing terrorist threats, inevitably affect civilian communities caught in the firefly. The Jabo incident raises important questions about communication between military forces and local populations. Were residents adequately warned about the dangers of approaching the blast site? Was there immediate deployment of personnel to secure the area and prevent civilians from accessing dangerous materials? These are questions that need answers. What authorities are emphasizing now is simple and urgent. Anyone in the Jabo community or surrounding areas who has collected any materials from the blast site must return them immediately to security personnel. Do not attempt to sell them, do not store them in your homes, do not let children play with them, and certainly do not try to break them down or melt them for scrap metal. The risk of accidental detonation is real, and the consequences would be devastating. There have been countless incidents worldwide where unexploded ordnance has claimed lives weeks, months, or even years after conflicts ended because someone disturbed what they thought was harmless debris. For those watching from other parts of Nigeria or beyond, this serves as a stark reminder of the complex security situation in parts of the country and the unintended consequences that military operations can have on civilian populations. It also highlights the need for better public education about the dangers of military hardware and unexploded ordnance. Communities in conflict-affected areas need to understand that not everything that falls from the sky or results from military action is safe to approach or handle. So, here's what we want to know from you watching this video. What do you think can be done to better protect communities like Jabo when military operations occur in their vicinity? How can authorities better communicate the dangers of unexploded ordnance to residents who might see potential profit in dangerous materials? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, because this is a conversation Nigeria needs to have. We need to talk about how to balance security operations with civilian safety, how to ensure that communities understand the risks they face, and how to provide support to people affected by military actions, even when those actions are aimed at protecting them from terrorist threats. The situation in Jabo remains fluid, and authorities are continuing their efforts to recover the dangerous materials and ensure no one else is put at risk. We will continue monitoring this story and bring you updates as they develop. For now, the message is clear and urgent. If you are in the Jabo community or know anyone who has collected materials from that blast site, please contact local security personnel immediately and surrender those items. Your life and the lives of your loved ones depend on it.